Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of Eagles Latest on Fan Arch. I am your host, Blake McQueary, and we are back for another week of Eagles content. It is officially week 2, the Super Bowl rematch week against the Kansas City Chiefs, as the Eagles are gearing up this week to take on the Chiefs in a Super Bowl rematch. We have a few things to talk about, as always, on the daily. So without further ado, let's get right to. First up, we have a roster spot has opened up. The Philadelphia Eagles have opened up a roster spot after waiving offensive lineman Kenyon Green. Now, this is the Eagles' second time waiving Green after the former first-round pick was traded to Philly for C.J. Gardner-Johnson this past offseason. Green started 23 games in Houston, but missed the 2023 season, and then was one of the lowest-graded players in the NFL last year. Kenyon Green didn't see much time with the Eagles, didn't see much action with the Eagles, didn't really do much this preseason to really move anybody within the Eagles facility. Honestly, trading for Green this past offseason was a risk. It was his potential that the Eagles were banking on, but obviously now they will move on from Kenyon Green. Now, what does this mean? A lot of people are a little confused because of what I'm going to talk about next, which is the Zadarius Smith signing. People are asking, so I thought Zadarius Smith signing was that extra roster spot that opened up after waiving Kenyon Green. That is not actually how it worked out. Ben Van Sumeren is going to be out for the year. They put him on IR, which means it opens up an extra spot, not including Zadarius Smith. I think everybody should know what this means, though, without the Smith signing, especially after watching that Dallas game. Howie wants another corner. I have talked about it a lot. I have mentioned it. I mentioned it last episode after the Dallas game. Howie is going to get another cornerback. Dallas was picking on the Eagles' secondary on Thursday night, all night, specifically Adoree Jackson. They said Jackson looked like Eagles Byron Maxwell Thursday night. They said he looked like James Bradbury. They said Jackson looked like a soul food Thanksgiving plate on Thursday night. You know what that means? Cooked. He looked cooked. He was getting cooked. He was getting burnt like toast. Boy, were they right. Jackson's coverage stats against the Cowboys read as 7 targets, 5 receptions allowed, 103 receiving yards allowed, an average of 20.6 yards per catch, 5 first downs allowed, 1 pass breakup, and a 33.6 PFF grade. A 33.6. That is one of the worst PFF grades I have ever seen in my life. And I'm so serious. I think that might be the worst PFF grade I've ever seen in my life off of one game. I'm not even exaggerating to you guys at all. That actually might be the worst. I'm so serious. Now, let's look at the good. Through all of that, Eagles fans should be happy. You should be very happy. You didn't have Jalen Carter. I talked about it last episode after Carter had spit on Dak and he got kicked out, whoop-de-whoop, what it meant for the defense, how it affected the defense, how it affected the team, and how that trickled down to the secondary. You did have Adoree Jackson, okay? Through all of that, the Eagles still managed a second-half shutout. So don't trip. Don't trip. Don't, be cool, calm, collected. It's fine. You managed a second-half shutout. You didn't have Jalen Carter. You had Adoree Jackson out there, okay? A little bit of Jacorian Bennett. He didn't really play much in the second half. You only really seen him those few first snaps in the final minutes of the second quarter right before halftime. Then they put Adoree Jackson right back in. Take a deep breath. What do you do now? You make way on the roster, which, like I just said, Howie is doing, getting rid of Green. Now, you go and sign or you go and trade for a corner. Like I have been saying, it's inevitable at this point, especially after that performance from Jackson. It is inevitable. Howie is going to do that. Howie has been so vocal on getting this team better, doing whatever he can to sign, trade players, whoop-de-whoop, whatever he feels like he needs to do for this roster to be the best that it can be. He was very adamant about it right after free agency closed. Very adamant about it when they finalized the 53-man roster, my apologies. It's what he does. It's Howie Roseman. All right? Now, what corners could they get? Asante Samuel Jr., he is still available. That would be a free agent signing. I would highly recommend the Eagles go do that. If you don't know Asante Samuel, if you don't know the name, son of Eagles legend Asante Samuel, you should know the name if you're an Eagles fan. Go get Asante Samuel Jr. You're not going to, you sign him for a few $1 million, if that? I mean, I think that is a win for the Philadelphia Eagles. I've been reading on who fans want. He is one of the fan favorites there. There's another guy by the name of Greg Newsome II that I've talked about a little bit. You go back a few episodes. That would be through trade from the Cleveland Browns. I think that would be a good signing for them. He is on a contract year, so you would have to re-sign him if you did go and trade for him. Maybe find a new deal when you do trade for him, if you do. Things like that. However you want to play it. Greg Newsome II. That would be a good... Anything would be an update at this point. But that is another name. That could be a possibility, a potential. Stephon Gilmore. He is a free agent. Stephon Gilmore was one of the best corners in the league a few years ago. He is a legend. He is probably going to be a Hall of Famer. Would be an upgrade. Definitely would be an upgrade. Another guy that this guy is. This one seems very far a very far stretch. He seems to be a Philly fan favorite. I don't know why a lot of people are naming him, want him. It would be through trade, obviously, but Denzel Ward. I think that is a fantasy. I think that is far from actually happening. I think the three guys I just mentioned before are more likely. I think Asante Samuel Jr. is probably the most likely to happen. Denzel Ward, though, he's been a dog. Would be an upgrade, absolutely. So those are just a few names there that the Eagles could get. Most of them, well, I named 4. 2 of them would be a free agent signing. 2 of them would be a trade. I mean, each and every, like I said, everyone would be an upgrade at this point. You could put Jason Kelsey out there at corner at this point, and it would be an upgrade, honestly. But yeah, Eagles are going to sign a corner. I feel like it's going to happen this week. I don't see what the wait would be for. Maybe them playing it out, seeing how Jacorian Bennett does first team reps. I think he's still adjusting to the playbook. I think that is why you didn't see much of Bennett after Jackson clearly was not locked in. But yeah. Moving on to Zadarius Smith. The Eagles signed veteran edge Zadarius Smith to a 1-year deal worth $9 million. So, Howie doing Howie things again. He sees a gap in this team, and he is immediately fixing things by getting Smith. I think after the Dallas game, there was a little gap there, getting pressure on the quarterback, specifically on the edge. Obviously, Jalen Carter was out, a big loss for that defensive line, a big loss in terms of getting pressure on the quarterback. But Zadarius Smith, very good signing. Really love this signing by the Eagles. Really love this move by Howie, as always. Smith gives the Eagles experience and leadership, as the Philly edge group is fairly young. Smith, 32 years old. He is a 10-year vet, 140 games of experience, 69 career sacks. He's been productive recently. Last season, he had 9 sacks. He was obviously traded from Cleveland to Detroit mid-year. 5.5 sacks the year before that, and then 10.5 sacks the year before that. That is a total of 24.5 sacks in 3 years. That is very good for a player that is being signed as a free agent during the season. His ability to pressure the quarterback is also something that stands out. He was 11th in the NFL last season with 67 total hurries. He was 23rd in 2023 with a total of 61. Now, the edge room looks like this. Well, the top 4 edge rushers now look like this: Nolan Smith, Jalix Hunt, Josh Uch, who had a very impactful game against Dallas. He looked like a very, very good player for this Eagles defense. And now you have a very experienced veteran in Zadarius Smith. Now, is Zadarius Smith going to be impactful? Yes, he is Zadarius Smith. I think the name carries, the experience carries, the 69 career sacks carries. That is who he is. When you have a resume in the NFL, you're going to make an impact on the field no matter what. You're going to, whether that is actually doing something or whether that is drawing attention. Even if he goes out there and he literally gets like 1 pressure a game, if that, he is still going to be making an impact because he is drawing attention to the opposing offensive line, to the opposing offense. That is just how things work. He was a difference maker in Detroit. He was... let me slow down there. Like, difference maker, yes, kind of. Like, it wasn't major, but he made an impact for Detroit's defense and for their rush game. Absolutely 100%. I really like the signing. I think it's going to be great for the Eagles. Obviously, there was a gap there in the Dallas game that was apparent. A lot of fans were complaining about it after the game. The edge rush wasn't the best. Now you go and get Zadarius Smith, a guy who is experienced, a guy who's proven in the league. I think it's a very good signing for them. Now, we are going to move on to my fantasy that I have been raving about the past couple of weeks. I mentioned it a few episodes ago, but Micah Parsons. That was my fantasy for the Eagles this offseason, trading for Micah Parsons. The news did in fact break that the Eagles did in fact try to trade for Micah Parsons. I said it. I knew it was going to happen. I knew how he was cooking up something. It's who he is. All right, it's who he is. I'm mad it didn't happen. I'm sick to my stomach it didn't happen. That would have been very fun to watch, but it is what it is. It's being reported that the Eagles offered at least 2 first-round picks, a third-round pick, and a fifth-round pick, among other things, to the Cowboys. Why did the Cowboys not take it? Obviously, I don't even think the Cowboys listened to the offer. I don't know was that much into the report. I'm pretty sure the report basically was stating that the Cowboys didn't even listen to the offer. They refused to trade Micah Parsons in division. Excuse me. I told y'all, like I said, Howie was cooking up a Micah Parsons trade. I told you guys, it's who he is. Howie is way too sinister to not try and go get Micah Parsons. Like, yeah, at least try. The worst they can do is say no. Like, I mean, it's the same saying. Like, you're trying to go holla at a girl or something. The worst they can say is no. You know what I'm saying? Like, it is what it is. This is the NFL. You go get guys like that. You go get all-pro edge rushers, difference makers like Micah Parsons, okay? The Eagles would have been, like, undoubtedly, I think the Eagles might have been, like, I'm thinking about it now. If the Eagles went and got Micah Parsons, they might have been the most dominant. How do I want to word this? They might have been like the favorite among all favorites in league history in terms of winning the Super Bowl. I don't think there would have been a better favorite in league history, in NFL history, to be predicted to win the Super Bowl. They would have been everyone's Super Bowl champion, 100%. That is who Micah Parsons is. He's a difference maker. I mean, even him being traded to Green Bay, now him being a Packer, which we will get into in a little bit, a lot of people like the Packers to, like, win. Absolutely. I stated it before. I'm not going to go too much deep into it because I'm going to talk about it in a little bit, but the Eagles would have been probably the number 1 favorite in league history to win the Super Bowl. That's just, Now, I don't know what players that, because the report says among other things. I wish they would have been more specific about that. I think maybe a player, absolutely. I mean, you look at the trade that Green Bay did, they had to give Kenny Clark away. Kenny Clark is a stud. He is a very good player. Very good defensive tackle. Yeah. I don't know who they would have to give up, though. I mean, probably Nolan Smith. Jalix Hunt. I think one of those two, 100%. Somebody. They would have to give up some. Jordan Davis, maybe, in that mix. Yeah. I mean, I don't know. That was my fantasy, though. I've raved about it. If you guys have watched the episodes, that would have been very, very fun. Now, let's get down to the last topic of the day. Still champs. Still champs. This is this is what I'm saying. Eagles fans should be happy. You guys should be very happy. The Eagles still look like the best team in the NFL. You can quote it right here. If you watched football on Sunday, they looked like the best in the NFL. Now, I am recording this on Sunday night. So the Ravens and Bills are still playing as I'm recording right now. They are at halftime, 20-13. Baltimore's up. Those two teams look very good. Very good. I'm going to wait for the rest of that game to play out to see, but I'm still standing on the Eagles look like the best team in the NFL. The Chiefs lost to the Chargers. The Chiefs, to me, honestly, the Chiefs didn't even really look the best. They didn't. Now, I know that was a Brazil game. For some reason, every year, the Brazil games, the teams just don't look good. I don't know what it is, but that just happens. But bottom line, the Eagles look better than both of those, Chiefs and Chargers. Lions, they looked very, very bad on Sunday. Very bad. The Packers dismantled them. Packers, on the other hand, looked very good. They looked very good. I told you guys a few episodes ago, they are the biggest threat in the NFC to the Eagles. They're absolutely the biggest threat in the NFC. That's proven now. Everybody knows it. They are the biggest threat in the NFC. A lot of the NFC teams, though, they just looked very underwhelming on Sunday. Like the Buccaneers, Commanders, Rams, 49ers, Falcons. They all looked underwhelming. Those are 5 teams I could see as dark horses. I mean, like Rams, if you want to call them a dark horse. Commanders, not really a dark horse. Kind of, they're, a mid-level favorite. But Buccaneers, 49ers, Falcons, dark horses for sure. Those teams just looked underwhelming on Sunday. They did. They didn't play good football to me. Absolutely not. Saints, they're arguably the worst in the NFL this year, and the Cardinals won by a touchdown. That score was 20-13. That was in the third quarter. It was 20-13. No points were scored in the fourth. None at all. A lot of teams, they're at their best and they don't look the best. The Eagles were absolutely not at their best on Thursday. What does that mean? Roster-wise, asset-wise. They had no Jalen Carter. Look at the difference he makes. He is arguably the best defensive player that they have. Eagles still don't have a second cornerback. I've been talking about it for months. Probably a month to be exact. They don't have a second quarterback. Like I said, I would love to see how Ja'Cory Bennett fares out. He has to learn the playbook first. Pass game was not there on offense. I think that was the offense's only flaw against the Cowboys. Pass game wasn't there. A.J. Brown, 1 reception. That came with a minute left in the game. He didn't get involved much. Now, a lot of people are talking, was it the hamstring injury that was affecting him? That could be something. I don't know fully. I'm not inside the facility, so I don't know. I don't think anybody knows except for A.J. Brown and the Eagles, if that was the case. If it was, Eagles fans, everybody should take a big, deep breath if that was the case. If he was just out there as a decoy, then, I mean, there's not much you can do about it right there. Devontae Smith, he had 3 catches for 18 yards. That's why I really think it came down to he just didn't get the opportunities. Dallas was in a too-high shell the whole game. A too-high shell, you are not going to have an effective pass game. You're not. It opens it opens the field up for runs. It opens the field up for the quarterback to make plays with its legs. Absolutely, and that's what Jalen Hurts did. And he was phenomenal in that game. Phenomenal. He won that game for them. Him and Zach Vaughn won that game for Philly on Thursday night. I talked about it. Go check the episode out. Saquon, he had a good game. He wasn't even utilized fully. Like, let's be honest. He wasn't utilized fully. So, yeah. I mean, take a deep breath. The Eagles are still champs. They look like the best team in the NFL. Ravens, Bills, maybe. But in the NFC, for sure, it's them. After week 1, it's Philly and Green Bay. It's Philly and Green Bay. And I think with how Green Bay looked today, 7 times out of 10, I'm going to take Philly. I am. I don't believe in Jordan Love as much as I do in Jalen Hurts. No one should believe in Jordan Love as much as they do in Jalen Hurts. So, Eagles fans, be happy. Take a deep breath. You're going to be okay. You're going to be fine. That is all we have for this episode. As always, stay up to date on Eagles Latest by Fan Arch, and like, comment, and subscribe. We will see you guys next time.